In the heart of Washington, behind the thick walls of the White House, two men shake hands, Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky. Cameras flash, voices echo, but behind the smiles lies tension. This is not just another diplomatic meeting. It could be the turning point of a war that has reshaped the world. Trump, now back in power, faces a challenge that could define his presidency: how to deal with the war in Ukraine. His every word, every gesture will be read not just in Kyiv and Moscow, but in every capital across the globe. Can he really end the conflict that has divided the planet? Or is this meeting just another chapter in a war that refuses to end? After years of political turbulence, Donald Trump's return to the White House has reignited debates around the world. His foreign policy slogan, "America First," once meant withdrawal and skepticism toward international alliances. Now, with Ukraine still under fire, the world watches closely. Will Trump's second term repeat the same patterns, or will he try something new? He has already hinted that endless wars are not America's business. But this time, the conflict is not far away. It involves U.S. weapons, NATO's credibility, and the balance of global power. For Trump, it's more than foreign policy. It's a test of whether he can transform his controversial diplomacy into lasting peace.
For Volodymyr Zelensky, this meeting is more than symbolic. Ukraine's survival depends on U.S. support, military, economic, and moral. Zelensky arrived in Washington with one clear message: freezing the war means losing it. He knows that Trump's instincts push toward negotiation, not confrontation. Yet he also knows Ukraine cannot fight without Western weapons. As the two leaders speak, advisors on both sides quietly understand this conversation could define the next phase of the war. One side seeks peace through strength, the other, survival through resistance.
Among the main points on the table, the Tomahawk missiles. Kyiv wants them to strike deep into Russian-occupied territories. Washington hesitates. Trump, cautious about escalation, questions whether these weapons will end the war or expand it. Behind the scenes, Pentagon officials warn that such a move could provoke direct Russian retaliation. Trump listens but remains focused on optics. Peace through power, he says, echoing his familiar rhetoric. To the public, he appears calm, but within the Situation Room, the debate is anything but peaceful. In Moscow, the reaction is immediate. Kremlin insiders follow every statement, every photograph, every hint of Trump's intentions. For Vladimir Putin, Trump's potential peace initiative could mean either a strategic victory or a dangerous surprise. Russian state media begins framing Trump as a rational American willing to end the war. But behind the scenes, Russian generals prepare for all outcomes, because peace talks, in their view, can often hide traps. Across Europe, the reaction to Trump's meeting is cautious and divided. In Berlin and Paris, leaders express polite optimism, but beneath the surface lies unease. Many European officials fear that Trump's idea of ending the war could mean freezing it, leaving Ukraine permanently weakened and Russia emboldened. Meanwhile, in Eastern Europe, in Warsaw, Vilnius, and Bucharest, the tone is sharper. They remember the promises made after Crimea in 2014. They know what temporary ceasefires often become. For them, peace is not just about stopping the shooting. It's about ensuring that the aggression never returns. And so, as Trump and Zelensky pose for photographs in Washington, European diplomats quietly prepare for every possible scenario, including one where America steps back. Inside the Pentagon, the mood is tense. Military officials understand what's at stake, not just for Ukraine, but for the entire U.S. strategic posture. For decades, America's credibility rested on one principle: it protects its allies. If Trump limits military aid, that credibility could crumble. But others in the Pentagon argue differently. Endless wars drain resources and erode readiness. The U.S., they say, must focus on deterrence, not endless intervention. Between those two philosophies, a silent conflict brews inside Washington's most powerful building. And for Ukraine, every internal debate means another day of waiting and another day of fighting.
As the world debates Trump's next steps, Russia moves quietly but decisively. Intelligence reports reveal that Moscow is reinforcing its positions in the south and deploying new missile systems near the Black Sea. Russian state television floods the airwaves with confident headlines, "Peace on our terms." Putin knows that if Trump's peace proposal gains traction, time could work in his favor. The longer the world talks, the more ground Russia consolidates. For the Kremlin, diplomacy is just another battlefield, one fought with words instead of weapons.
Back in Kyiv, the atmosphere is restless. Every word coming from Washington feels like a shift in destiny. Zelensky faces pressure from all sides: exhausted soldiers, weary civilians, skeptical politicians. He cannot afford to look weak, yet he cannot risk losing America's support. In closed-door meetings, his advisors debate: should Ukraine accept Trump's offer to pause the conflict or demand total withdrawal of Russian forces first? The country stands at a crossroads, between survival and sovereignty, between fatigue and defiance. This conflict is no longer just about Ukraine or Russia. It's about the future of the global order itself. If Trump succeeds in forcing a ceasefire, he could reshape how the world understands American power, from military dominance to deal-making diplomacy. But if he fails, the consequences could ripple across the planet, from Taiwan to the Middle East, from NATO unity to the credibility of Western leadership. In a world already fractured by mistrust, every move now defines the balance of the century.
For Trump, peace has always been a transaction, not an ideal. He sees the world in deals, leverage, and optics. To him, peace means making both sides feel like they've won, even when they haven't. During the meeting, he reportedly told Zelensky, "Sometimes you stop fighting to start winning again." To his supporters, it sounds like wisdom. To his critics, it sounds like surrender. But for Trump, the logic is simple. America gains nothing from endless wars. The real question: can such a philosophy bring real peace, or will it just freeze injustice in place?
History rarely repeats, but it rhymes. From Vietnam to Afghanistan, from Iraq to Syria, every time the U.S. tried to reshape foreign wars, the ending was rarely as planned. Now Ukraine could become the next test of America's limits. If Trump withdraws too far, it may embolden future aggressors. If he stays too deep, it could trap America once again in a conflict it cannot control. The echoes of past wars whisper in every decision he makes. The ghosts of unfinished peace still haunt the halls of Washington.
As night falls over Washington, the world waits. Trump's words echo through headlines and corridors of power. It's time to end the war. But ending and resolving are not the same. Some wars end with treaties, others with exhaustion, and some only with time. For now, Ukraine fights on, Russia watches, and the world holds its breath. Because this time,
The answer to one question could define the century itself. Can Trump truly end another war? Or will this peace, too, come at a price the world cannot afford?